Welcome to the 777 Infinite Show. Um, I've had it's just been a few hours since we spoke last. I've had a very tiring day. Um, they have been very exhaustive, but I thank that we've seen the end of the day. So it's just a matter of time before I get to sleep. And I thought, like, why not just share something good with you before I get to sleep? And by the way, I'm looking for somebody who can write. So if you know anyone, holla at your boy. Anyway, I just want to read for you a passage from the scriptures here. A time for everything. Everything that happens in this world happens at the time God chooses. He sets the time for birth and the time for death, the time for planting and the time for pulling up, the time for killing and the time for healing, the time for learning, the time for tearing down and the time for building. He sets the time for sorrow and the time for joy. But the time for he says the time for sorrow and the time for joy. I zoned out a little bit there. The time for mourning and the time for dancing. The time for making love and the time for not making love. The time for kissing and the time for not kissing. He says the time for finding and and item and the time for losing. The time for saving and the time for throwing away. The time for tearing and the time for mending. The time for silence and the time for talk. He sets the time for love and the time for life, the time for war and the time for peace. What do we gain from all our work? I know the the I know the heavy burdens that God has laid on us. He has set He has set the right time for everything. He has given us a desire to know the future, but never gives us the satisfaction of fully understanding what He does. So I realized that all you can do is to be happy and do the best we can while we are still alive. All of us should all of us should eat and drink and enjoy what we have worked for. It is God's gift. I know that everything God does will last forever. You can't add anything to it or take anything away from it. And one thing God does is to make us stand in awe of Him. Whatever happens or can happen has already happened before God and makes the same thing happen again and again. I hope I caught your attention and I hope you were able to grasp something from there. By the way, if you haven't, I'll just I'll redo the video in some time in future. So yeah, it's been nice to see you people, to interact with you.